Did you know that in 2026, the United States government passed a law that could save senior citizens thousands of dollars every single year? And at the very same time, a completely fake law about senior drivers is spreading across social media and scaring millions of older Americans. Today, we are going to break down both of these stories, separate the facts from the fiction, and make sure you have everything you need to know. So stay with me, because this information could genuinely change things for you or someone you love. Let's start with the good news, the real news. The United States Congress passed a massive piece of legislation called the One Big Beautiful Bill, and President Trump signed it into law on July 4, 2025. Now, this bill covered a lot of different areas, but one of the most important provisions inside it was a brand new tax deduction created specifically for American seniors. This is not a rumor. This is not a social media post. This is official law, confirmed by the Internal Revenue Service itself. Here is how it works. If you are 65 years of age or older, you are now eligible to claim an additional $6,000 deduction when you file your federal taxes. That is $6,000 taken straight off your taxable income, which means you owe less to the government and you keep more of your own money. Now, if you are married and both you and your spouse are 65 or older, that number doubles. You can claim $12,000 together as a couple filing jointly. That is a significant amount of money for any household, especially for retirees living on fixed incomes. One of the best parts about this deduction is how flexible it is. It does not matter whether you normally take the standard deduction or whether you itemize your deductions. You can claim this senior bonus either way. That means the vast majority of qualifying seniors will be able to benefit from it without having to change anything complicated about how they file their taxes. Now, there is an income limit to be aware of. If you are a single filer and your modified adjusted gross income is above $75,000, the deduction begins to phase out gradually. For married couples filing jointly, that phase out starts at $150,000. So if your income is below those thresholds, you are likely to receive the full benefit. And this deduction is not just for 1 year. It is in effect from tax year 2025 all the way through 2028, giving seniors 3 to 4 years to take full advantage of it. To give you a real-world example of what this means, imagine a single senior receiving Social Security income plus withdrawals from a retirement account, bringing their total income to around $40,000 a year. Under the old rules, they would owe a certain amount in federal taxes. Under this new law, with the $6,000 senior deduction added on top of their existing standard deduction, their taxable income drops significantly, and so does their tax bill. The Treasury Department has estimated that in cases like this, some seniors could see their tax burden reduced by over $1,500 in a single year. For a married couple in a similar situation, the savings could exceed $2,000 annually. That is real money going back into real pockets. Now let us shift to the second story, the one that is not real, but has caused an enormous amount of confusion and anxiety among older Americans. Over the past several months, videos and articles have been spreading rapidly on platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and X, formerly known as Twitter, claiming that the U.S. Department of Transportation has introduced a sweeping new federal law targeting senior drivers. According to these posts, drivers between the ages of 70 and 80 would need to renew their licenses every 4 years with mandatory vision tests. Drivers between 81 and 86 would renew every 2 years, and drivers 87 and older would face annual renewals along with required road tests. Some versions of the story even claimed that cognitive exams and medical clearances would be required just to keep a license. This sounds alarming, and that is exactly why it spread so fast. But here is the truth. Every single part of this story is false. The independent fact-checking website Snopes investigated these claims thoroughly and confirmed that no such federal law exists. The stories were traced back to AI-generated articles published on websites with names like The Licking News and Sheffield Stories from the Pandemic, sites that were designed to look like legitimate news sources, but were producing completely fabricated content. The reason this misinformation was so convincing to so many people that it mixed real-sounding details with official-sounding language. It referenced the Department of Transportation. It used specific age brackets. It included realistic-sounding timelines. But none of it was based on any actual legislation. Driver licensing in the United States has always been, and remains today, controlled entirely by individual states, not by the federal government. The DOT does not issue driver licenses. It never has. Each state runs its own Department of Motor Vehicles and sets its own rules for renewal, testing, and age-related requirements. In fact, while fake news was claiming seniors were facing new restrictions, one state actually moved in the opposite direction. Illinois passed the Road Safety and Fairness Act, which takes effect on July 1, 2026, and it is one of the most senior-friendly driving reforms in recent memory. Under this new state law, the age at which Illinois requires a mandatory behind-the-wheel road test jumps from 79 all the way up to 87. That means hundreds of thousands of Illinois seniors between the ages of 79 and 86 will no longer be forced to take a stressful road test just because of their age. This is the reality of what is actually happening with senior driving laws. Individual states making thoughtful adjustments, not the federal government cracking down on older drivers. The one genuine federal change that did affect all drivers, including seniors, was the Real ID requirement, which took effect on May 7, 2025. This means that for domestic flights and entry into federal buildings, you now need a Real ID compliant driver's license or passport. If you have not already updated your license to be Real ID compliant, that is something worth checking on your local DMV. So let us bring it all together. The $6,000 senior tax deduction is completely real. It is officially confirmed by the IRS, and it applies to every American aged 65 and older who falls within the income limits. If you or someone you know is a senior filing taxes in the United States, this is money that should not be left on the table. The federal senior driving law that has been circulating on social media is entirely false, debunked by professional fact-checkers, and originated from AI-generated misinformation designed to go viral. The best thing you can do right now is share this video with a senior in your life, a parent, a grandparent, a neighbor, anyone who deserves to know the truth. And if you want to verify anything I said today, go directly to irs.gov for the tax deduction information and snopes.com for the driving law fact check. Do not rely on social media posts for legal or financial decisions. Always go to the source. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.